Hey everybody, Jam Creates here. Another ride home, another video. So today I'm going to talk about something that popped into my head last night, and I really wanted to make a video about this. So I'm going to get to it. I was talking to my daughter, and in my house we are very big fans of the series Chuck. You may know it. It was, pretty popular. It's definitely got a cult following. People love it. The fans of the show continue to love it. So we were talking about Chuck and how everybody wants a Chuck movie and whatever. And I had a thought. Now, it was announced the other day. It was a big story the other day, although I thought they had already said this, but I guess it was made officially official the other day that Disney is going to pull everything that they have off of Netflix. They're pulling everything. Everything that they've got is getting pulled from Netflix. I guess there's a certain date they probably have to hit before they can do that or whatever, but that's the idea. They're going to pull all their content off of Netflix because they're launching their own streaming service. And of course, they want their content for themselves, which, you understand that from a business standpoint. It's the customers are, the consumer is starting to get screwed here with these streaming services, honestly, because anyone and everyone now is launching streaming services, it seems. And honestly, some of them are just not worth the money. Looking at you, CBS All Access. But anyway, they have these things, and some people, they're doing it whether they have the content or not. And it's really, from a consumer standpoint, it stinks because it's good in one regard because, you don't pay for what you don't want. But at the same time, if you like one show on this and one show on that and one show on this and one show on that, it would be nice to have them all bundled in one place. And hey, guess what? You just reinvented cable. So, it's tough. I get it. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the whole thing shakes out in the future. But what I was thinking was more short term, more in the immediate future. Netflix announced the other day, after the announcement of Disney pulling all their stuff, Netflix made an announcement that Daredevil is now canceled. There will be no season 4 of Daredevil now. I don't know, you may, depending on how familiar you are with Marvel and their properties and what's going on with them, Daredevil is a Marvel character. Marvel is owned by Disney, ergo Disney owns, all that. So it would be Netflix continuing a show that's, presumably at least in some portion owned by Disney. And I don't know how that would work out with the rights as far as streaming goes once Disney pulls all their stuff off Netflix. So it makes sense for them to do that and to not continue to make these Marvel shows, which have been very successful for them, and that's the key is, having Disney movies, having, things like Moana and, the new Jungle Book and all these other movies and everything, like honestly, all these Disney movies that are available on Netflix is a huge thing for Netflix. I mean, Netflix is a thing that a lot of families have. They've had it for years. Their kids use it. They use the Netflix Kids option, and they watch all the shows and all the movies and all that stuff. And this is going to be a big blow to Netflix. It really is. Netflix keeps raising their prices, and every time they announce a price increase, every single person who has it thinks, oh, should I cancel that? Because so many people have it and don't even think about it. It just continues to go and go and go, and they just keep paying their whatever it is now, $9 a month for the streaming only, I think it is. Whatever it is. I have it. I don't even know what I'm paying for it. That just goes to show you, how it's just so out of sight, out of mind. You just have it in the background. You watch it every now and then, or you watch it all the time. If you have kids, they tend to watch it a lot. So this is going to be a big blow. They're going to lose a lot of content. Now, yes, they've been making a lot of their own content, but like I just mentioned, a significant chunk of that stuff that's popular is Marvel content. Things like Daredevil and The Punisher and, Iron Fist got canceled, and Luke Cage, I think they canceled now, and all those shows were, regardless of what you think of their quality, and they definitely, there is a varying level of quality to them. They were successful. They definitely drew numbers, I'm sure, and so Netflix is going to have to pony up some money for some original content that will help them in the future to retain subscribers and hopefully even add new ones. I mean, that's the goal for any company like that. Because every new subscriber that you get and then you retain them, that's money compounded over time. That just means more and more and more. And that's why subscription services are a lucrative thing if you balance the books correctly. And that's why everybody wants to get into it, because it's this steady revenue stream. I don't know, some people get bored by business talk, but listen, that's the world. It's business. But my ultimate hypothesis here, and it was a long way to go, I guess, to get here, but this was my idea. Fans, I was just at New York City Comic-Con in October. Zach Levi was there, the star of Chuck. He's going to be in the new Shazam movie. He's got tons and tons of fans, and all of his fans want Chuck to return. Now, I don't think they could get them all back and do it for a series return, but what I do think Netflix could do, which would be a huge, huge get for them, I think, put up the money and produce a Chuck movie as a Netflix exclusive. It would be much easier to get the cast back together just to do a movie than it would to get them back together to do a series. But what Netflix could do is they could do something that hasn't been done in ages. They could do a series of Chuck films. You do one next year, you do one the year after, you do one the year after that. Suddenly, every year, Chuck fans are like super excited for the new Chuck movie that's going to be on Netflix to see what's going to happen. And the thing is, Zachary Levi, like I said, he's got star power. He's got drawing power. He's going to be in that new Shazam movie, and he's everywhere right now. He's the voice of Flynn Rider in Tangled. He's got lots of fans from all different age groups, and I do think bringing back a beloved show in any form would be huge for Netflix. I think that would be huge for them. And it would get so much attention from the Chuck loyal fans who are, let's be honest, they're nuts for Chuck, dude. I am one of them. I love that show. That show to me was like the perfect television show. And if I could get more of that, I would love it. So I think if they do it and they do it right, they could have a potential movie series on their hands, which would be great for Netflix, and it would be great for the fans. It would be a win-win, honestly. I think it would be a good draw for Netflix, and I think it would be fantastic for the fans, which would get Netflix a lot of goodwill. The amount of goodwill that would come, and good PR that would come to Netflix by greenlighting a Chuck film as a Netflix original would be astronomical, because the fans would love them. Just ask Subway how that works. And if you don't know what I mean, fans of Chuck, when they were trying to save the series when it was still on the air, Subway was a huge sponsor of Chuck. So people went out and bought tons and tons of Subway and sent Subway sandwiches to the NBC offices just to try and convince them to keep the show. And it worked. They kept the show on for 5 seasons. And the numbers that show did back then, if it was doing those numbers now, it would be one of the most popular shows on television. It's just that back then, numbers for broadcast TV were much, much bigger. So the point being, I do think it would be a great PR move with minimal investment, really. I mean, the biggest investment would be probably in the cast, but they've done original movies with people like Will Smith who demand lots of money for a movie. They've done big special effects, heavy films and stuff like that, and Chuck's not even that heavy on the special effects, just a lot of explosions and stuff, some stunt work, things like that. Which in the grand scheme of things is not that expensive, honestly. So I do think it's a doable thing, and I think the time is right now. I think right now the time is right for Netflix to get together with, I believe it's Warner Brothers who owns the rights to Chuck, get together and say, hey, let's do this. You've got this property that people love and want to see back. We've got a hole in our content. Let's do this. I don't know if Warner Brothers is planning their own, like, all-encompassing WB streaming service. They probably are at some point, where they would have things like shows from the CW and their DC, although DC has its own streaming service. Like, I don't even understand that. But, I don't know. I do think it would be a huge boon to Netflix to do that. And I think Chuck would be the tip of the iceberg. I think what they could do, and it would be a really big thing. And yes, it'd be, in a way, it's a little bit of a cheap ploy, but it would be something that would work. Go out and find these other shows that fans love that they feel were ended too soon. See if you can reunite the casts, just like they did with Fuller House. They brought back the Full House as a new show with a mostly, the whole cast returns, but they're not on every episode from the original Full House. Do more things like that. That's been very successful for them. Fuller House has been very, very successful for them. They should go out, seek out shows for, whether it's for reboots, like a thing like a Fuller House to Full House type of thing, but even more so than that, because I do think those can be successful, but I think even more than that, if you take a show that people loved and has a fan following, and honestly, Chuck is one of the big ones. There are others out there, though, that people feel ended too soon. Bring them back. That will get people on board. It's the same strategy Disney is using because they need content for their streaming service. It's the same strategy they're using with the Clone Wars. They're bringing back the Clone Wars for another season. Why? Because they love it? No. They didn't really like it that much, honestly, which is why as soon as they bought Star Wars, they canceled the series and then started something new. But they're bringing it back now. Why? Because it has loyal fans. Even all these years later, still has lots of loyal fans. And Star Wars could use some goodwill, quite frankly, because Disney has really put Star Wars through the ringer. So some goodwill would certainly be welcome on that front. But that's what they're doing. They're counting on that goodwill to draw in subscribers just for that show. And I think Netflix could do the same thing. They could make use of these things, these properties that maybe they're a little niche, maybe they ended too soon, maybe they were ahead of their time, whatever it is. Bring them back, not necessarily as full series, but bring them back as movies. People would be super excited. I'm telling you right now, and this honestly probably wouldn't be that hard to put together. If they decided to bring back Saved by the Bell as something new, where obviously everyone's grown up. Maybe Zach and Kelly got married in that movie. Maybe Zach and Kelly have kids now. Maybe they all have kids now. Maybe Screech is in jail because, Dustin Diamond's in jail. You'd have to figure that one out. But regardless of that little Screech factor, Belding is still around. Everybody's still around. And I guarantee you they would all be more than happy to come back, even if it's just for a movie. Doesn't have to be for a rebooted series. How about you just do a movie? Let people cash in on the nostalgia. I know it sounds cynical and like just profiteering, but the thing is, the fans would enjoy that. As long as you take some care to make the projects good, fans would enjoy it. Tell me fans wouldn't be excited. Oh my God, Saved by the Bell is coming back for a movie on Netflix. That's freaking amazing. Tell me fans wouldn't get behind that. Of course they would. And is it really going to cost you that much to get that cast back together? And let's be honest, the movie itself is not going to cost a ton because it's not like it's an action movie or heavy special effects or anything like that. So you get some good, comedy writers together and you put together a film. Have some heart to it, of bringing the cast back together and do it that way. I know Kelsey Grammer is kicking around ideas of bringing back Frasier. Well, how about you get on that, Netflix? Jump on that. Spend some of that cash you've got. Bring back one of the most beloved shows of all time. Again, even if it's just for a movie, a TV movie. I mean, it would be ideal to bring it back as a series because Frasier is just amazing. And if you could get that cast back together, that would be freaking incredible. That'd be the one. I don't know if Netflix could afford that one, honestly. But you never know. I don't know. You know, who knows how these deals work out. So that's just my idea for Netflix. That's a free idea. It's an open... This video is kind of an open letter to Netflix to help out the fans and help yourself out, because you're going to be losing so much content in the near future. Because Disney already announced they're pulling everything. Who's next? Who will be next? Because somebody's probably going to do the same thing and say, hey, we could do our own thing and pull all of their content from Netflix. So you've got to ask yourself, if you're Netflix, you need more original content, even more. You've got to compete with Amazon Prime. You've got to compete with all these new streaming services. If you do these things that spread goodwill and bring back beloved properties, people would be all over it. I'm telling you. You would be the talk of the internet. You would be beloved for doing it. You can't go wrong. I'm telling you. So please, Netflix, bring back Chuck as a movie. The time is now. Let that spearhead the movement. Zachary Levi is ready. He's been ready. He wants to do it. I'm sure the rest of the cast wants to do it. They've talked about it tons. Now is the time. Make it happen, Netflix. The ball's in your court. You need help. The fans want it. Do it. All right, so that's it for me for today. My little open letter to Netflix there. Let me know what you think about this video. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, okay? So help me out. Let's see what we can do. Let's spread the word. Let's get Netflix to notice, and maybe they can do it. Maybe it'll happen. All right, so that's it. I'm out. I will talk to you guys again soon. I'm going to do another Christmas movie review. I think I might do the Santa Claus next. I've got some other stuff up my sleeve, so don't worry. Keep tuned to the channel. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at jam_creates. And I will talk to you soon.